When you begin your Qigong practice, you're going to want to do some preparation to make sure that you have everything ready to get the most out of your practice sessions. Some of the things you'll want to consider are the time that you'll conduct your practice, any equipment that you'll need, the location where you'll do your practice, clothing you'll wear, and dealing with distractions that may arise, and finally the need to review your arrangements from time to time. So starting with practice time. Traditionally, the best times of day to practice Qigong were thought to be sunrise, sunset, midday, and midnight. And this is to do with the ebb and flow of energy in the environment around you. But quite aside from that, the most important thing is that you choose a time that is convenient for you, a time that will fit in with your routine and you can stick to. The guideline for this course is to allow 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. Now, if you can't do that, if you can only do a shorter amount of time, that's fine. Adapt the program to what suits you. Equally, if you want to do more, that's fine too. It's best that you do an amount of time that's comfortable within your schedule and you don't become stressed about trying to fit in too much. Equipment. You don't need any particular equipment for Qigong. In the context of this course though, you'll need something to watch the videos on. So that could be a laptop computer, it could be a smart TV, a tablet, or maybe even your phone. But you'll need something that you can set up where you practice to watch the videos on as you learn. Location. One of your top priorities is to find somewhere that's quiet, where you won't be distracted too much. It's also nice if you can practice outdoors. So in this next little clip, I'm going to show you some of the places that I like to practice Qigong. This is one of the places I like to go and practice Qigong. It's about a 20-minute walk from my studio. And there's this nice patch of grass which is quite firm even when it's been wet. And it's right by the sea. And this island that you can see out there in the early morning, which is normally when I would come here, you can see the sun rising up over that island on the horizon. So it's a really nice spot to practice Qigong. Can get a bit busy during the day. There's a boat ramp here. But in the morning it's a nice place to practice. This is another place that I like to come and do Qigong. It's a nice green park with trees and it looks out over a lake, which is really nice. It's about 10 minutes walk from my studio. It's been raining quite a lot lately, so the ground is quite soft, so I don't want to mess the ground up, so I don't really come here much at the moment. But in summer or when it's been dry, it's a really nice place to practice Qigong. And this is another spot that I like to go to do my Qigong. Again, it's just a 10-minute walk from my studio. It's by the lake again, and but when the ground's been wet, because it's been raining a lot, there's this little spot here which is by an old quarry which has a little concrete pad, so I can do my Qigong without churning up the mud and making things all messy. But in the end, this is the place I most often do my Qigong practice. It's my studio where I teach Kung Fu and Qigong. So this would be, I also live here, so this would be the equivalent of my lounge room. Now, you may not have as much space as this in your lounge room, but that's probably where you're going to end up doing your Qigong too. Because you need somewhere that's convenient, that you can do your Qigong and won't matter about how long it takes to get there, or weather, or anything like that. Also, to begin with, as you're learning, you need to be able to have somewhere where you can watch the videos and practice along with them. So as I mentioned there, in the end, convenience is the most important thing to begin with.
Clothing. Two main points here. You need to be able to move easily, so it means not wearing anything too tight, and also warmth or coolness, depending on the temperature where you are. So again, I've got a little video clip with some ideas about clothing.
Some people think that they need some kind of special clothing to do Qigong, maybe some Chinese looking clothes or something like that, but it's not true. The most important thing is that you're comfortable and that you can move around easily. So most often that's going to be like a t-shirt and some loose trousers or maybe even shorts, just as long as you're comfortable. If it's cold, make sure you dress warmly enough. You may even be able to do Qigong in your work clothes, but if you do this, you'll probably at least want to undo your collar and maybe even loosen your belt or take it off so that you're not too constricted anyway. One special note about footwear, you may notice I'm wearing a very flat-soled, very thin-soled pair of shoes, which lets my feet be flat on the ground. This is the ideal type of shoe to wear for Qigong, either that or barefoot. You don't want a shoe that puts your heel up on an angle, because this then tips your pelvis and affects all the muscles through your body. And there are very subtle body mechanics that we're working with in Qigong that we want to allow to be as natural as possible. So thin, flat-soled shoes or barefoot is best.
Okay, moving along. Dealing with distractions. It's inevitable there will be things that happen to distract you, but it's important that we minimize these as much as we possibly can, because at least to begin with, as you're learning Qigong, you're learning to focus and be aware of things in your body that you maybe haven't paid attention to before, and it does take quite a bit of focus to get the hang of that. The distractions that will come up will fall into two categories. The first of these is distractions where there's no action required. That could be something like someone walking past in front of you, a noise, maybe your phone ringing. You can do a lot to minimize these distractions. You can turn your phone off, of course. You can maybe tell people who are going to be around where you're doing your practice that you need some quiet space for what you're doing. But inevitably things will still happen. The best thing in this case is just to notice whatever it is that's going on and then continue on with your practice. Don't become upset or worried because it's broken your train of thought. Just notice it and go back to where you were. And with practice you'll get better and better at just letting distractions go on and not really take your focus away too much. The second type of distraction is a type where there is actually action required. So this could be someone needs your help, there's some type of emergency, maybe your video player has a problem, and so you need to attend to it one way or another. Now, depending on exactly what the distraction is, you may be able to just stop for a couple of minutes, deal with it, and then resume your practice. But other distractions will mean that you need to stop your practice session completely, attend to what needs to be done, and you may not be able to come back to your practice session then. You might have to start again the next day or at another time. If this is the case, the best thing is to just calmly accept that. You can pick up another day. The most important thing is that you're consistent and consistently work towards learning and improving. As you'll learn as you go through this course, your emotional state has a big effect on the functioning of your body, and you don't want to undo the good that you're doing with your Qigong by becoming upset at distractions. Just calmly accept and move on. Finally, the need to review your arrangements. You may plan and prepare well, but then as you keep practicing, find that there are things that aren't working. Maybe the time of day isn't as convenient as you thought. Maybe you're too cold or something like that. Your video player is not working as well as you wanted to. see if you can change things so you can make it easier. Don't just press ahead if the situation is too difficult. See if you can make changes so that you can really focus and enjoy your Qigong practice sessions. Okay, enjoy starting your Qigong practice.